cooking wicked processed foods like fruits and cereals are contaminated by Salmonella and Listeria monocytogenes. Food can be introduced with the LMF where the condition of them are low water activity, and by minute it needs to be lower than 0.85. They are peracetic acid-ethanol and Advanced Oxidation Process AOP. The first treatment, peracetic acid and ethanol. These are used to decontaminate surfaces. The peracetic acid are used to decontaminate both chia and flax seeds, where it managed to reduce Salmonella by 4 to 5 log colony-forming unit without giving any side effects. Next, AOP, or also known as Advanced Oxidation Process. And this process is the generation of hydroxy radical, and it's based on UVC-mediated degradation of hydrogen peroxide, and it comes with or without oxidated hydroxy radicals. Monocytogenes and Salmonella are cultivated in a soil where they were harvested by centrifugation, and at the end, their cell density needs to become 9 log CFU per ml. And these pathogens were then combined following each suspension so that inoculating cocktail is formed while a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius is maintained. Take the chocolate and break it into pieces, and it should look like a crumb. And divide it into 25 grams and place it into the plastic pouches and store it in cold and dark place. The sample will then placed onto a plastic tray and should let it go back to original moisture level at room temperature for 2 hours. The peracetic acid-ethanol treatment. This treatment is also known as a sanitizer. The solution, 5% volume per volume, was diluted first. The unsolved low moisture level samples were then placed in a plastic pouch that later sprayed with 4 ml PAA ethanol solution. They will make sure it is distributed evenly, and later the sample will then placed on a plastic tray to let dry within a biosafety hood for 2 hours long.
Another method for inactivation of Salmonella and Listeria monocytogenes on low moisture food is by using Advanced Oxidation Process treatment. 4 ml of 4% hydrogen peroxide were used to treat the low moisture food, then dried for 2 hours. Corn peroxide test kit used in this method to test the treated sample. Then, triptych soy broth method were used with glycerol to treat low moisture food. In this procedure, 25 grams of dried raisins were first inoculated with Salmonella or Listeria monocytogenes. Then, triptych soy broth was stomach egg, or in other words, shaken for 60 seconds. The agar were allowed to incubate at room temperature for 48 hours after serial dilution were performed. And now, glycerol were used to prepare the culture. In the end of this method, the Salmonella and Listeria monocytogenes were placed into absorbent at 590 nanometer. To make analysis towards the previous treatment, a microbiological analysis which used latex agglutination test. Also, analytical profile index Listeria kit used to confirm the presence of colonies. Moving on, a statistical analysis is a method performed to analyze the variance of the data obtained from the result. In this method, 2 key tests were included to determine the relationship between 2 sets of data. If the difference less or equal to 0.05, then it is considered as statistically significant.
I will touch the result of recovery of Salmonella and Listeria monocytogenes from low moisture food. In the table number 2, we can see that Salmonella significantly higher in 1% of glycerol. By increasing the concentration of glycerol supplemented into TSP result lowering the recovery of Salmonella. But in contrast, in Listeria monocytogen high recovery when the concentration of glycerol supplemented is increasing. This slide we can see the result of decontamination of low moisture food with internal peracetic acid sanitizer. In the table number 3, we can see that Salmonella as present as a A and Listeria monocytogen present as a B, inoculate into different low moisture food and treated with different concentration of peracetic acid in the internal sanitizer. To measure water activity of the different of low moisture food, cornflakes has the lessest water activity which is 0.220 and strawberry is the highest water activity which is 0.699. Table number 3, we can see that for cornflakes, chocolate and strawberry, there is no Salmonella was recovered by using internal at concentration of more than 1.25%. but Salmonella inoculate until apple slice was more tolerant, and also the log reduction of the pathogen was significantly higher compared to when ethanol alone was applied. Moreover, Salmonella more tolerance on the pistachio nuts that had been shelled, and no survivor being detected after treating with sanitizer concentration of more than 2.5%. Log reduction was observed in Listeria monocytogenes. A low concentration with 1.25% of ethanol sanitizer reduced Listeria to under stable level on cornflakes, chocolate, and dry strawberry. The tolerance of Listeria on apple slice was lower compared to Salmonella, as no survivor were recovered when sanitizer concentrations were applied. In addition, in raisin and distal Listeria was not recovered when it treated with ethanol sanitizer with 3.75%. Meanwhile, shield on pistachio nuts were the most challenging to decontaminate, with only a 1.06 plus minus 0.18 log CFU reduction being reported by applying 5% of ethanol.
Going to explain about the result of the Advanced Oxidation Process treatments, or AOP, of low moisture food inoculate with Salmonella and Listeria monocytogenes. For Salmonella, as I can conclude, for sample apple, the AOP process, which is 54 mg over cm square dose of UVC, ozone, 10% hydrogen peroxide, provided greater antimicrobial efficiency compared to applying UVC, hydrogen peroxide, or ozone alone. The second one, for sample raisin, cornflakes, strawberries, and chocolate, shows that there's no Salmonella was recovered at the 10% hydrogen peroxide alone, and also AOP treatment, which is 10% hydrogen peroxide, ozone, and 36 and 54 mg over cm square UVC dose treatment. And the last one, pistachios with shell on and also the shell. The antimicrobial action of AOP or its constituent element were limited by the surface magic components of physical protection provided by surface structures on the nut. Listeria monocytogenes, I can conclude that the first one, pistachios nut with shell on, the AOP treatment, which is 10% hydrogen peroxide, ozone, and 54 mg over cm square of UVC dose, and hydrogen peroxide alone, supported a reduction in Listeria counts. The second one is pistachios nut without shell. The reduction of Listeria monocytogenes by AOP treatment was not significantly different compared to when 10% hydrogen peroxide alone. And the last one, for sample chocolates, cornflakes, raisin, strawberry, and apple, shows that there's no Listeria monocytogenes was recovered treated with AOP that supplied 36 and 54 mg over cm square of UVC dose, 10% hydrogen peroxide and ozone, or by 10% hydrogen peroxide. The lab for each sample with different treatment can be seen in this table.
By employing a pre-incubation step in TSB supplemented with glycerol, the recovery of Salmonella from raisin was increased. This inconsistency between studies could be associated to the different cellular injury conveyed by thermal shock in contrast to osmotic stress. Unlike Salmonella, there was no risk in the recovery of Listeria from raisins by a pre-incubation step in TSB glycerol. From the result gained, it was obvious that Listeria was more sensitive to PEA ethanol in contrast to Salmonella. This may describe the high resistance of Salmonella under low water activity compared to Listeria. The tolerance of Salmonella to the PEA ethanol sanitizer was brilliant on the low moisture food tested. The outcomes attained in the current study verify the use of sanitizer to inactivate Salmonella on low moisture foods. Thus, it is obvious that physical techniques are more efficient at inactivating Salmonella in Listeria in contrast to chemical sanitizers, apparently because of the limitation required by low water activity, physical protection on nut constituents. The outcomes explains that the effectiveness of PEA ethanol is mutually beneficial on both the pathogen and food matrix being treated, and the inactivation of Salmonella by AOP was brilliant on the low moisture foods analysis. Listeria monocytogenes was more delicate to both UVC and ozone compared to Salmonella, suggesting that the pathogen tolerance also partially impacts to defining the lethality of the treatment. So overall, Listeria monocytogenes was more delicate to both treatments in contrast to Salmonella that could be intellectual of the increased tolerance of the last mentioned in right step. This report exhibited that both the AOP and PEA ethanol treatments can be used as interference to decrease carriage of Salmonella and Listeria on low moisture foods.